Hey everyone, it's Hayes, and today we are going to be looking at the signs of Ladynoir breaking up because I enjoy making myself and everyone around me upset. You're welcome. So this season, Ladynoir seemed pretty fine up until the ending of Optigami. Things were good, things were Gucci, but now they are very much TJ Maxx or whatever discount store you have in your country, I don't know. However, prior to Optigami, from Mr. Pigeon 72 onwards, Marinette had been confiding more in Alia. We saw in the season 3 finale, as well as other episodes as well, how much Ladybug relied on Cat Noir for emotional support where being Ladybug was concerned. However, at the start of this season, as shown in Truth and Gang of Secrets, Marinette was feeling extremely isolated and was unable to talk to Cat Noir about how she was feeling, to the point where at the end of Gang of Secrets, she broke down and told Alia her identity. And at this point, she starts confiding in Alia, as we see in Mr. Pigeon 72, for example, where they discuss the new power. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing, it's no wonder Marinette feels more comfortable confiding in Alia than Cat Noir. Alia knows who she is now, so Marinette feels safe to confide in her since she had a really good relationship with Alia prior to telling her identity. However, it means that Ladybug does start pulling away from Cat Noir, and I would argue this is mostly subconscious. I don't think she's been leaving Cat Noir in the dark because she hates him or because she's trying to hurt him, but as we see from Scenti Bubbler and onwards, Cat Noir has definitely noticed and it is hurting him, even if that's not what Ladybug is intending to do. I do feel she should be able to confide in Cat Noir about how she's feeling without having to tell him her identity. She's done it before, like at the end of Lies and also in Miracle Queen. Before the ending of Optigami where Alia got the Miraculous permanently, Cat Noir was the only person who understood what Marinette felt, with having to hide everything. But Marinette decides that Alia is the best person to talk about how she feels, which I don't blame her for. Plus as well, after what happened in Scenti Bubbler and Rocketeer, Alia also has a huge burden on her shoulders, just like Marinette. She has to keep her identity a secret, as well as Ladybug's identity and the location of the Miracle Box, which is only bringing the girls closer together in that respect and further leaving Cat Noir out. And please don't interpret this video as me hating Alia. I love her. I wish she was my sister, and I hope that this dress isn't the final one for her in the film because I will riot if I have to. Like, it's not the worst. It could have been worse, alright. But it also could have been better.
You have no style or sense of fashion?
Well, I think that depends on what you're...
No. That wasn't a question.
So anyway, Ladynoir really starts breaking up in Scenti Bubbler. Rena Rouge is talking to Cat Noir and she's like, this is a two-person plan, and turns out you're a cat, so we won't need you this time. And then he breaks something. Literally. Wish I was making this up. I did feel really bad for him in that moment, even though I knew the Miraculous Ladybug would repair it, like he says, but I felt so bad that he felt that way that he had to break something. However, at the end of the episode, he is kind of okay with it, understanding now that it really was a two-person plan all along, not involving him, and that he needs to trust Ladybug and by extension also Rena. But in my opinion, his facial expressions in this scene show he's still upset with being left out. And I would be too if I were him. Up until now, it's always just been them, and when they did need someone else's help, he was always involved. Now, I know Miraculous for us feels like it spans across several years, but according to Thomas Astruc, each season is over 3 or 4 months, which is a complete lie, but that's a different video. So for Marinette and Adrien, all of this has happened over a relatively short period of time. So, first of all, I can't imagine the amount of trauma they're both going through right now. But anyway, in the episode Siren in season 2, Cat Noir does get annoyed with Ladybug and Master Fu for leaving him out. Prior to this, he'd only met Fu on his first day of school and then never again. He was being left out entirely, so Master Fu resolved the issue so Adrien wouldn't stop being Cat Noir. And then in Truth and Furious Fu this season, Cat Noir tells Ladybug he has no problem with Ladybug being the Guardian as long as things don't change between them. Which was obviously foreshadowing things changing between them. So to us, the events of Siren seem like years ago at this point, but in terms of the show, it wasn't that long ago for Adrien and Marinette, and neither were Truth and Furious Fu, so Marinette does know how Cat Noir would feel about being left out. In the following episode, Glaciator 2, we see Ladybug get annoyed with Cat Noir with all of his flirting, and she puts him in a bin and shouts at him. While I think she is completely justified in telling him to stop flirting with her if she doesn't like it, you should 100% tell someone if they're doing something that you don't like or is making you feel uncomfortable. I don't think she should have put him in a bin. I think we can all agree on that. As she says later, we put things in the trash that we don't want. Like she did with Cat Noir, which makes Adrian feel worse. And even when she hung out with Cat Noir as Marinette, I would argue she didn't even register that he was really sad. And I don't think he was sad about being told to stop flirting with her. To me, Adrian is a complete gentleman, and if you told him to stop doing something, he would, no questions asked. But he was sad because of the way she treated him in that moment. And then the next episode is Hacksan. Oh boy. So in this episode, Alia uses the Ladybug Miraculous, and Ladybug didn't even tell Cat Noir that she was going away. And in my opinion, she really did have the time to tell him. Was her mum really going to say no to Marinette quickly going to the bathroom before they left? She could have quickly transformed and left him a message to let him know at the very least. She told him in the New York special she was going, and she was pretty angry with him when she found out he'd also left and not told her. Cat Noir's emotions in this episode are completely justified. First, he was understandably worried something had happened to her, that someone else had her miraculous, and then he was annoyed at her for not telling him something so huge. And why wouldn't he be? They've been told that they have to protect these pieces of jewellery, and to Cat Noir, Ladybug has just given her earrings to a stranger for all he knows. However, the episode ends with Ladybug telling Cat Noir that she will never leave him, and he looks pretty happy with that. And also, even though in this scene she kind of tells him she told someone her identity, turns out Cat Noir wasn't paying attention, so he still doesn't actually know, so I'm assuming that will be an argument in the future. Following Hacksan is Rocketeer, and in this episode Adrian finds out Nino and Alia are Carapace and Rena Rouge, and that both Nino and Alia are aware of who the other person is. And Adrian is shocked by this. Not only because he's being told this when Nino was told to keep it a secret, but because Nino and Alia knew all along who the other person was. Adrian has been told by Ladybug now so many times that their identities must remain a secret. Now obviously the identities of Carapace and Rena Rouge aren't as critical, but a rule is still a rule. He definitely feels betrayed by Ladybug. Why are they so different to him and her? Why do they get to know? However, instead of not noticing how he feels in this episode like in Glaciator 2, at the end of the Akuma battle, Ladybug does notice how Cat Noir is feeling this time and asks him about it, but he brushes it off. In my opinion, this is a sign that he is definitely losing his trust in Ladybug. Prior to this season, he would have told her something like this, like again in the episode Siren, he told her how he felt, and now he doesn't want to. And it seems like he has plenty of chance to talk to Ladybug if he wants to. At the start of Rocketeer, Marinette says her and Cat Noir will be patrolling that night. And I'm not sure how often they do that, but they do obviously meet up outside of Akuma battles. He could talk to her then, but he doesn't either. At the start of Wishmaker, Adrian is feeling extremely disheartened. He doesn't know what to do with his life, including whether or not he should continue being Cat Noir. And I'd be confused too. Adrian is doing everything right. He's respecting Ladybug's boundaries and not flirting with her, and he's kept his identity a secret from absolutely everyone. He hasn't done anything wrong, but she's still shutting him out. However, by the end of Wishmaker, and we also see this in Simple Man, we see that Adrian definitely still loves Ladybug, and he doesn't want to give up on her. So overall, Adrian is definitely still in love with Ladybug, but because she stopped confiding in him, he stopped confiding in her and he's pulling away from her too. So I can't even imagine how he's feeling right now. Marinette has Alia to talk to about how she's feeling, which is great, but Adrian only really has Plague, but we don't get a lot of scenes of them together, so it's hard to gauge if Adrian is talking to Plague about this. Plague and Wishmaker did seem very supportive, to be fair. Honestly, I do kind of wish we got more of their relationship in the show. Marinette and Tiki are adorable together, we see them all the time. But where's the Adrian Plague screen time? We need more of it. However, despite all of this, it does seem like things will get better. We've all seen this scene of a kiss happening right at the start of Risk, which is going to be episode 25, so something obviously happens in either episode 23 Kuroneku or 24 penalty, or maybe even in 20 Keelan. And in my opinion, Cat Noir does seem kind of happy / surprised by this kiss. However, a lot of you said you thought he looked kind of upset and angry. Maybe he does. Maybe I'm just in denial because I so desperately want things to get better between them. For the screaming session this week, we did Heroes Day. It had been a while since I'd watched those episodes, and it just showed me how strong the Ladynoir partnership was in previous seasons. Things between them need to change for the better, and the only way their partnership can get back to that is if they finally talk it out. Part of me at this point does kind of want an argument. I think they both need to get their frustrations out and be honest with each other, but as long as they talk to each other at this point, I'll be happy with that. And honestly, I think Cat Noir would be a bit weirded out if Ladybug kissed him and they hadn't smoothed things over. And maybe she will finally tell him about Cat Blanc too. That must be having a huge effect on her relationship with him. She no longer remembers the events leading up to how he got akumatized. She has no idea how it happened anymore. The only person who does remember is older Alex, future Bunnix, whatever you want to call her. She's the only one who knows now. However, she does remember that Cat Blanc knew her identity. So she must be absolutely petrified of confiding in him more, and maybe him finding out her identity in case it leads up to her dying. I can't imagine how traumatizing it was for her to see herself dead. However, I am worried about the spoiler image we got as Cat Noir isn't there. It could be easily explained away as him not having arrived yet, or Ladybug has sent him to do something else already, but I am worried that something has happened to him, that he's been akumatized or got hurt, or that he's decided he can't be Cat Noir anymore. Either way, it does seem like the Ladynoir relationship improves, but I think if they haven't spoken prior to this kiss, it would leave Cat Noir feeling very confused. It would definitely be sending him very mixed signals. He thinks she's pushing him away, even if she isn't doing it consciously, and it's really starting to affect him. And I think it could end up affecting how they fight together during Akuma battles if things don't get sorted. I'd love to know what you think of the Ladynoir relationship this season in comparison to the previous seasons, and I'll see you in the next one, besties.